Microservices. 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 Service about microservices. Microservices. Sometimes, in fact, one of the things that we've seen in this sort of convenience economy is this notion of microservices as significant. And whilst, in terms of levels of abstraction, we need to be a little bit careful. When people talk about microservices, they're really mostly talking about a single accessible service that contains everything that is needed, that is self-contained. And then you build up a user experience comprised of these services. You build up the application comprised of all of these application services. And so whilst that's a programming sense, and we have some notions about microservices, they should be composable, i.e. we can put them together and you get into all that lovely sort of Lego block thinking. They should be adaptable. We should be able to adapt the microservice over time. One of the key things about microservices is small teams building them. So it's that sort of pizza box notion. If you can't all get around a pizza box, it's probably not a microservice. And that ties into the agile wave that we're seeing. And basically microservices is kind of the next generation of SOA. And I know that SOA is sort of a bad term. Everyone's always complaining that that SOA was a failure. But certainly the notion of encapsulated services that can be composed is a good one. And so we're seeing a new wave of applications, and a lot of the people that have implemented this well, certainly systems at scale. You don't want a microservices architecture for every kind of application you might build. In fact, one of the things we've seen recently is people going, oh my God, this is too complicated. I'm actually going to tear this down and start again with a monolithic Rails app because it's just basically a CRUD app and I can build it. But this notion of single purpose services is I think an interesting one because it's also reflected in the economy at large with this sort of convenience culture that we're building on. So, an Uber is a single purpose app. You just press your button and you just do that. Or, if I want to get my food, you just hit the Deliveroo button. It's all this, one app does one thing well. And I think that as I say, we don't want to get too confused that microservices and single purpose apps are the same thing. We're certainly kind of really going into a model which says that convenience is predicated on simplicity of putting single services together. So microservices, kind of likely to be developed agile. You want to be building services that can fail. That's one of the key and interesting things about microservices. It's really different. And one of the organizations that's done one of the best jobs of explaining what microservices are and how agile works and what resiliency means is Netflix. And the reason they built this thing called Chaos Monkey, which basically gets in your system and breaks things on purpose so that you remediate that, is that you're building with failure as an expectation. And that's really definitional to microservices. The microservices, you have to expect that actually they might well fail. Composability, adaptability, and that failure mode, these are definitional to building microservices. So it's going to be built in some of the new cloud-native technologies. Certainly if you look at what's happening with the PaaS providers, IBM and Cloud Foundry, the Herokus and so on in this world, Pivotal, you will see that they're baking these concepts in from day one. So, the PaaS is not kind of an independent and a different thing than microservices. Certainly they're thinking about how they can make it easier for you to build and compose and then package and manage microservices-based applications. I'm about to do sort of a microservice, old school, rocking it old school. I need to get a document witnessed, and so I have to go to someone, and they will witness my document, which isn't exactly a microservice, but it kind of is. So I've got a distributed transaction here with this lease that I'm going to be signing. And as part of it, yes, I do need to go to an independent witness, a lawyer in fact, and get them to sign off on this. I don't use this company all the time, but they are helpful for this one single service. And so sometimes it's about, yes, one document, one thing, getting it done, and that's kind of a microservice.